Hello, Oak Park River Forest. I want to thank you for the honor of speaking to you today. And I'd really like to thank Rebecca Lindsay Ryan for nominating me for the Tradition of Excellence and the class of 1996 for really rallying around that nomination. It is a big honor. So when I was in high school, I would look at all the photos on the wall of previous Tradition of Excellence winners, and I can 100% say I never thought I would be one of them, just as I never thought that I would be facing such a critical illness. But life is surprising. It brings many ups and downs, and since my diagnosis, I've realized that everyone is facing their own struggles, their own issues in life, their own things that make them different in themselves, all of which should and can be a good thing. I think a lot of times, though, that we settle into our own experience rather than challenging ourselves to understand what other people's lives are like. With that in mind, I began the What Would You Give campaign in 2015 to try to give people, healthy people, an idea of what it might be like to live with ALS for a short period of time. So people gave up an ability, their legs, their voices, their arms, and I was really blown away by the response, by how people really seemed to be getting it, even just within a short period of time. Imagine if we could make that experiment, which I call an exercise in empathy, even bigger, so that we could experience for ourselves an entirely different kind of life. What would it feel like to be a different gender, to have different skin color, or a different sexual orientation? There's not a real easy way to do those things. So I think that what's really important is that we talk to each other, that we tell each other about our lives and the different ways that we might look at the world. There's no one way, there's no right way, but we are living in a time right now where I really believe that empathy towards others would go a long way toward repairing some of the rifts that we're seeing in our country and around the world today. You guys probably know this, you're smart kids, but there's, of course, a difference between empathy and sympathy. So sympathy is basically pity-based, and I don't know anyone who enjoys being pitied. I know I don't. But empathy is being able to understand and share the feelings that another person is experiencing. And I think it's critical that we go forward in our lives with empathy because we really are all having this common experience of being human. And we need to care about that and to care about each other. I just read a really interesting article in The Atlantic magazine about empathy, and it said that the happiest and most successful kids are the ones who care about others, who are able to relate, to be concerned, and to respect differences. And that a lack of empathy often makes kids less successful and less happy. So that's something I think about as a parent and just as a person making my way in the world. When my family started fundraising for ALS research, the bulk of our support came from Oak Park and River Forest. It still does. This place, this community that I come from, that you're a part of now, is a really strong one. And it can and will support you in your future endeavors. Until I got sick, I didn't realize this. I thought that high school was for pretty fun years of my time. But now I really feel this incredible connection to where I come from, and that's because of all the amazing people who are part of this place that made us. In 2013, my husband started a team of cyclists to raise money for ALS research. And we couldn't believe the response, the support. And I'll tell you one particular story that always sticks with me. I would get alerts, email alerts, whenever anyone donated to the campaign. And one day, I got this alert that a guy had gone to high school with, but hadn't seen since then, had donated this like insane amount of money. So I was pretty sure that a 0 had accidentally been added to his donation, and I freaked out because I'm just sort of generally a spaz, and I felt really bad that, you know, his generous donation had gotten screwed up. I wrote to him and I said, don't worry, I know there's no way you meant to donate this much. We'll totally get it figured out. And he wrote back to say the number I saw was what he had donated. And he added some kind words, and then he wrote this. I thought you may appreciate that to this day, whenever I see a young kid dressed like he has no idea what he's doing, I think of sitting next to you in American Lit when I showed up with these white, purple, and yellow striped shorts, with a purple cartoon sports t-shirt, unfit for anyone over the age of 7, and you just looked at me with an expression of utter confusion and disbelief and said, what are you wearing? It was the most appropriate possible reaction. That's what he wrote to me. So I'll leave you with that because I think it perfectly epitomizes what is so great about OPRF. We support each other. We reach out to each other. We laugh at each other. And we put some pretty great people out into the world. So be kind, learn about other people's lives, ask questions, and don't make fun of their clothes. Although that clearly did work for me in this case. Thanks again, everyone. Really an honor to talk to you today. Wish I could have been there in person. Thank you for this award.